How often do you find yourself reacting impulsively to the ups and downs of life? Getting easily triggered, flustered, or hot-headed over minor frustrations and misunderstandings? If you're like most people, reactivity is probably costing you more peace of mind and positive relationships than you realize. It's easy to get hijacked by intense emotions in the heat of tough moments. But what if there were scientifically backed strategies to stop being so reactive? To cultivate the priceless ability to stay calm, clear-headed, and in control of your best self no matter what waves of chaos come your way? According to the latest research in emotional intelligence, mindfulness, and psychology, there are 10 powerful habits you can incorporate into your daily life to become unshakably non-reactive. Watch this whole video, and you'll learn exactly what these 9 habits are and how to apply them immediately. You'll discover a rare inner strength that allows life's ups and downs to no longer control you. 1. Practice mindfulness. It's been said that the small space between stimulus and response is where your power to choose lies, and the simplest way to create that space is through mindful breathing. When you bring full attention to your inhales and exhales, you interrupt the mindless, automatic reaction patterns hardwired into your brain and body. You insert a conscious pause that allows you to respond from a place of choice rather than hardwired impulse. For example, if someone says something that triggers anger in you, simply taking 3 conscious breaths can drastically change your experience in that moment. It shifts your brain from the reactive fight or flight mode toward rational thinking capability. Try this. When you catch yourself about to overreact, stop and take 5 to 10 purposeful belly breaths, savoring the full inhale and exhale. You'll notice the reactive intensity dissolving, replaced by spacious clarity to respond how you truly want. Pro tip: make purposeful breathing a ritual before any situations where you tend to fly off the handle, like difficult conversations. It's your built-in off-ramp for reactivity. 2. Do the inner smile. This habit comes from ancient healing traditions and leverages the mind-body connection in a powerful way. It's called the inner smile, and it soothes emotional turbulence from the inside out. The practice: simply close your eyes and visualize a genuine inward smile blooming from your heart center, gently spreading through your whole body and face. Imagine cradling and reassuring your inner child, putting them at peace during stressful times. When you visualize yourself smiling inwardly like this, it physiologically relaxes your muscles, lowers blood pressure, and increases endorphins and serotonin levels. Your brain interprets the felt sense of a smile as reason to feel calmer and safer, de-escalating your emotional reactivity. Give it a try. It's a deceptively simple yet highly effective way to keep your cool even when chaos swirls around you. 3. Depersonalize and get context. A major reason we overreact stems from taking things too personally. We get upset because our egos mistakenly interpret situations as direct attacks on our character, worth, or beliefs. The solution? Train yourself to consistently depersonalize your experiences. Ask, is this situation really about me, or does it involve other factors out of my control? Could the other person be having a bad day that has nothing to do with me? Does this require my ego's involvement, or can I just let it go? When you depersonalize, you widen your perspective to consider the fuller context and circumstances driving someone else's behavior. You realize not everything is a personal offense against you. For example, if a coworker snaps at you during a meeting, remove your ego from the equation. Their poor mood could be from lack of sleep, a fight with their spouse, general work stress, completely separate circumstances you don't need to take personally. By not internalizing other people's reactions, you remain the impartial observer. Life becomes far less reactive when you detach from making everything about you. 4. Watch your storylines. Humans are captivating storytellers. The problem? We often get seduced by the reactive, disempowering stories playing on a loop in our minds. You know the ones. The tales of victimhood, anger, resentment, fear, and self-doubt that shape how you interpret reality. These narratives trigger you to react in knee-jerk, regrettable ways that don't serve your best interests. An excellent practice is to simply witness the storylines arising without judging or attachment. When you find yourself brewing in stressful self-talk, take a step back and curiously ask, is this just another instance of the same old storyline repeating itself? Why am I so invested in keeping this story alive through my reactions? The goal isn't to ignore difficult emotions, but to recognize you don't have to unconsciously act on the habitual stories and scripts running through your mind. Those are just paths of least resistance, not objective reality. By watching your mental narratives with healthy detachment, you'll find it easier to not take their reactive bait. You'll cultivate the spaciousness to respond to each new moment with a fresh, unconditioned perspective. 5. Feel it to heal it. Emotional suppression, physical tension, and inner restlessness are like clouds of reactivity waiting to burst forth at the slightest trigger. The antidote? Fully feeling and releasing your pent-up stress and difficult emotions. It's tempting to numb or avoid painful feelings, but the more you resist them, the more they persist, only to come erupting out as overreactions down the road. Instead, you want to get in the habit of sitting with whatever arises, be it anger, sadness, fear, shame, and just breathe into those sensations in your body. Don't force anything, but follow the energy of the emotion by visualizing its color and shape. Asking, what is this feeling's wisdom or message for me? Writing a stream of conscious letter from the emotion's perspective. Doing focused meditation on its felt experience. Allow the waves of primal energy to process fully through your inner landscape. You'll often find they crest and dissolve, returning you to an awakened equilibrium from which you can respond to life with much less reactivity. This feeling is the healing approach keeps your inner world clear instead of bottling up a reactive powder keg of turbulence. 6. Strengthen your pause muscle. One of the subtlest and most powerful habits is developing what's called your pause muscle. It enhances your ability to consciously pause before reacting, a high leverage skill for life. Most of us fly off the handle or make poor decisions in the heat of strong emotions. We get flooded by the mind's thought loops and instinctive impulses. The pause muscle is your innate capacity to interrupt that chain reaction by simply pausing. It means catching yourself before spinning into a reactive tailspin, stopping to take a breath and asking, how do I want to respond to this situation from my highest self? What would my wisest answer be? Then, instead of autopilot reactivity, you reset and respond with full presence and intentionality. The more you flex this pause muscle, the more it develops like any muscle group. You reinforce new neural pathways that make conscious pausing a default setting before acting. In many ways, the pause is where your personal power and freedom reside. With it, you're no longer a slave to knee-jerk impulses and reactions. You respond from choice. 7. Reframe your perspective. Sometimes the difference between reacting in misery versus responding with wisdom is your frame or perspective on what's happening. The situation itself doesn't determine your experience, your view of it does. Any stressful circumstance can be reframed and looked at with a more empowered, opportunistic lens to avoid reactivity, such as problem to opportunity reframe. This frustrating situation is actually happening to help me grow stronger and more resilient in this area of my life. Victim to solution reframe. The easy thing would be to play the victim here. The better choice is to focus my energy on finding the solutions and answers I'm looking for. Temporary to bigger picture. Reframe. While this difficulty is intense right now, it's only temporary compared to the big picture of my life and goals. I won't let it derail me. With proactive reframes, you don't reject or deny suffering exists. You simply view it through a more objective, empowered lens. 8. Move your body. When strong emotions like anger, anxiety, or restlessness arise, one of the best ways to burn off excess reactivity is to move your body in a conscious way. Physical movement provides a healthy outlet for pent-up energy. It also changes your neurochemistry and breathing patterns in ways that naturally calm and center you. Some examples of centering physical practices: going for a brisk walk or run, doing yoga, stretching, or foam rolling, weight training or bodyweight exercises, dancing freely to music, punching a boxing bag, breath work, and dynamic meditation. The key is bringing your full awareness and presence to the physical sensations. Instead of spiraling into mental turbulence, you release that kinetic energy in a focused, cathartic way. You may have noticed when sitting still for too long, unresolved emotional charges and urges to react often arise. But when you intentionally move and embody yourself, it discharges that frenetic energy. Making room for some sort of daily embodied practice acts like a pressure release valve. It clears stuck reactivity from getting bottlenecked, enabling you to stay balanced and responsive. 9. Connect to your higher self. At your core, there is an aspect of you that exists beyond the fluctuations of your personality, emotions, and ego games, a part untouched by conditioned reactions and stories. Some traditions call it your highest self, true nature, or Buddha mind, the facet of you that is perpetually awake, centered, and at peace. The more you consciously connect to this still, wise observer presence within you, the more grounded and less reactive you become. You stop over-identifying with the smaller, restless self and its dramas. Some ways to practice this shift into higher self-awareness. Asking, who am I beyond just this body-mind, during meditation? Noticing the spacious awareness beholding your thoughts, feelings, consciously disidentifying from reactive impulses as not me. Contemplating your existence before self-concept was formed. As you strengthen this aligned witnessing muscle, a deeper experiential knowing emerges. I am not the reactivity itself, but the presence beholding it all. Your human experience transforms. From that elevated perspective, reactions no longer possess you or hijack your energy. You begin operating from an entirely new responsive paradigm of conscious choice. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.